Welcome to episode 20 of 100 Songs. My voice is jacked up today. I've felt like a pile of hell the last few days, but no matter. I have shit to do, so I'm proceeding with recording this episode. My voice is like going between Barry White and like a little girl, just without, any notice. I'm kind of learning to modulate if I talk a certain way. But if I get too excited, then I start squealing. It's really embarrassing, but no matter. Today's episode, we are talking about the song Scapegoat by Fear Factory. Fear Factory is an LA band, metal. You could call them industrial metal, is how I've seen them described. Formed in either 89 or 90. I'm not clear on that. I've seen multiple sources cite both of those dates. Doesn't really matter that much, but right around the time I was graduating high school, this band was forming, and their first album, Soul of a New Machine, came out in 1992. The band was formed by Burton Seabell, who does their vocals, and has also been the only consistent member prior to hanging it up in 2020. Now, this band has been through a lot in terms of lineup changes and sort of back and forth. And that seems to be a common theme when I'm doing my research for these episodes. So a lot of bands go through a lot of this kind of thing. I think that's just human nature. I think it may be hard to be in a band. Also the type of person, your artsy type people, maybe a little eccentric, maybe a little bit of ego. There's all kinds of things that I think drive people together and then drive them apart in a spectacular fashion. But this band has had regular members come in and go out. Burton Seabell, kind of the mainstay, has now left. Not now, it's been 2020. The album that came out more recently was recorded before he left and released a year or two after he left. So if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't even know that he was gone. They are touring right now. They're playing near me, like really soon here. They're coming up, and they have a new singer. And I saw a couple videos of the new guy. I was super impressed, actually. Those aren't easy shoes to fill. His vocal style is not easy to replicate, or at least I don't think it's easy to replicate. But the guy they got is he's really good, so that's kind of exciting. So, what I like about Fear Factory, and what stood out to them for me, is I was getting into metal in the 80s, and this was the first band that I had heard that did a lot of the mixed vocals between the growls and the clean vocals. There wasn't a lot of growl vocals or harsh vocals that I was listening to back then, and at first it took a little bit of getting used to, but I found it to work really well. And what blew me away was the going back and forth. Like I said, I really like his clean vocals, and in fact, I like him more, I think. But they're used more sparingly, and it really helps mix up the songs, and I think it's really good, actually. The other thing too, just ferocious drumming and guitar. And then they put in some industrial sampling, and it's just a really unique band for its time. I think they led the way in this kind of music. I could be wrong. There's probably some stuff that was ahead of it. I mean, music's all derivative anyway, but I felt like this was a big step for metal in a direction that now a lot of bands have replicated, and bands that I really like. a lot. So the other thing too is, despite being just, you know, kind of harsh and hardcore, it's very melodic. I find a lot of the passages and sections of their songs to have a lot of melody and feeling to them. And for me to really like a band, I have to, you know, have some of that. I have to sense or feel some of that. Now, I wouldn't put Fear Factory as one of my favorite bands or anything like that, but I do really appreciate, particularly their early releases and even some of the stuff they've done. They've had like, I don't know, 10 or so albums, I want to say, or something like that, over the 30 years that they were recording. Maybe more than 10 or 11, something like that. If you don't count any of the live album. A lot of good stuff. And I haven't really listened to the last two or three. But again, doing this has made me want to get into it. So I'm kind of excited to re-explore the catalog. I know the first few albums really, really well. Their most popular albums are my favorite albums. Again, Soul of a New Machine is their first, and is what features the song Scapegoat. Scapegoat was a standout for me. It represents a little bit of everything that I like about Fear Factory. Shit. It's difficult to talk. And then also what I found interesting is between one of the breaks, or after one of the breaks, they had brought in Gene Hoglan for drums. And Gene Hoglan is one of my all-time favorite metal drummers. And he's been collaborated with and been on so many bands I like, done albums with so many bands that I really appreciate. And he had a stint with Fear Factory too, which is really cool. So let's pick up about midway through and get the essence of Scapegoat here. Right? Maybe. And then it continues to closure. It goes like another minute of sort of that outro. Just really cool. Just listening to that just now, I caught myself drumming the bass drum parts with my feet, and I do that when I'm listening to them, because it's, I don't know, I'm kind of drawn to the drumming. So Fear Factory, check it out. I'm sure if you're a metal fan, you know of them and have heard of them. But if you want to try something new, I do recommend. I would go. You're safe to go with any of the popular releases. Really. Okay. Next up, if I can get this going. Here we go. So, episode 20. We are 20% through my 100 songs list. The wheel doesn't seem to be getting any. Each of these slots don't seem to be getting any bigger, even though they technically are. But let's see what we've got next. Aliens Exist by Blink-182. Probably not anybody's favorite Blink 182 song, but it is probably on one of their most popular albums, if not their most popular. We'll talk about that next time, and maybe my voice will be better, or maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be like this forever. I don't know. Take it easy.